Welcome to the Lake Show, where you can find out what's going on in and around Lake Loudoun. Fort Loudoun Lake Association is your producers today. We're a nonprofit environmental conservation organization that keeps Fort Loudoun Lake safe, clean, and fun. I'm Angela Howard, the executive director, and I work with zone managers and an in-house scientist to remove trash and debris daily, educate our community about pollution prevention, monitor the stormwater, and check the health of our streams. Today, I have one of our zone managers with us, Jake Hudson. Hey, Jake. How are you today?
Very good.
You sad to be off the lake?
Yeah, well, it's not that nice of weather out there, so
it's good to take a break every once in a while. So you're a zone manager for the Fort Loudoun Lake Association. Will you tell our audience what that is, actually?
Right. Well, I'm in charge of the first 3 zones of the lake. We have it divided into 8 zones. The lake itself starts at Forks of the river and runs down to the dam in Lenore City. It's 50 miles long, and I've got the first 15-20 miles from Forks of the river down to Lakeshore Middle. It's Lakeshore Park now, where Lions Bend and North Shore run together. That's the mouth of 4th Creek, and I am responsible for everything upstream from that.
All right. So from Lakeshore Park all the way up to Forks of the river, which if you just were looking from the river, is very highly commercialized, where our city is, right?
Yes, it's downtown and very, very much densely.
I'm sure that the pollution keeps you pretty busy, we hate to say.
Very, very.
And so where are the areas of our river along your zone area that's the worst or the hardest to keep up on?
We have a contract with the city of Knoxville, and it's called a no trash zone.
Right.
And it starts at the Buck Carnes Bridge, the Alcoa Highway Bridge, and runs upstream to the South Knoxville Bridge, the famous bridge to nowhere. And that area we're paid by the city of Knoxville to keep clean. And part of the way we keep that clean is we've erected booms across the mouths of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Creek. These catch all the trash that comes down when it rains. And it's a lot easier to get the stuff out of a boom and into a bag and out of the lake than to try to chase each individual cup, bottle down the lake.
So we'll get to where these creeks are, but before that, I know that we have some video of you that was done for a public service announcement. Well, we'll run that video, and as the audience sees what you do, you can explain the actual work that you're doing on a daily basis. How many times a week are you out? I mean, of the week are you out there?
5 days a week usually.
All right. So we're running that video.
Yes.
There you are.
This is me, and this is the lake.
So what are you doing here?
Well, I was grabbing a log or a stick out of the water. We have nets, and that's in the mouth of 1st Creek at the boom, where I was getting trash out.
Right. So that orange thing was a boom, is that right?
That's a boom.
All right. So and that's now you've got placed booms at 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Creek.
Not 4th Creek.
But 3rd Creek?
1st, 2nd, and 3rd Creek. We have
so let's start at 1st Creek. Where does 1st Creek come from?
Okay, 1st Creek, actually, it runs north from Volunteer Landing.
Right.
It runs parallel to Broadway most of the way. Then it takes, at Fountain City, where 640 crosses Broadway, Whites Creek joins it. Now, Whites Creek runs east out into the county about as far again. So it's a very large creek, 1st Creek is. And it's anything that somebody deposits on the street, anywhere on Broadway, in Fountain City, ends up in 1st Creek.
Yeah, and those are individuals that are pollution, but also we have all those restaurants up there, some automotive stuff, some at least parking lots I know that drain off into that creek.
Right.
Yeah. So that's 1st Creek. Tell us about 2nd Creek.
Where does 2nd Creek comes out at the UT Boathouse, runs just by Neyland Stadium there.
Yeah.
It starts up at 640 and Merchants Road, where I-640 crosses Merchants, and Merchants come together there, and where 75 crosses Merchants, actually, then. It starts there and follows Central Avenue Pike all the way down. And so it's got a potential for a lot of pollution, too.
Right, a lot of more commercial businesses and the individuals that are going up and down on Central all the time. 3rd Creek. Where's 3rd Creek?
3rd Creek, once again, starts up near Merchants Road and over Pleasant Ridge Road, and it runs for a while. It runs west, almost out into the county. Then it turns and comes back parallel to Sutherland and Kingston Pike, between them, and runs through campus and comes out down at the Ag campus, down at the sewage treatment plant under Neyland Drive.
And which one runs by the World's Fair Park?
That's Second Creek. It runs actually under the World's Fair Park in a box.
And that makes it hard to clean.
Well,
does anybody even know what it's mostly underground, a lot of that,
yeah,
right?
that is pretty smooth and flat, so not much stuff will stay in that culvert. And especially in a rain, it all gets blown out. But the rains are the events that really make my work exciting.
To say the least.
That's when I get all the trash that's been accumulating in the storm drains and in the street. A lot of people don't realize storm drains don't go to any treatment plant. They don't go anywhere but to a creek.
And
that's where your trash, if you're throwing stuff out, you're teaching your trash to swim, because it's going to go down the street into the storm drain, down the storm drain into the creek, and down the creek into the lake.
And into Jake's hands.
And I'll find it.
And if he's not there, then what happens?
Somebody else will find it.
Well, and who's going to go out there and pick up trash?
Yeah. Swimming, they'll find it. Skiing, they'll find it.
Right.
On a jet ski, they'll pick it up in their intake. They'll find it.
So what else are you doing out there? There's trash, but I know you pick up large debris, and that for navigation reasons. Tell us about that.
We try to remove hazardous logs. I'm not so much concerned about a giant tree. I mean, I will get it out of the channel, but people can see that. But the most dangerous logs are about 2 feet long, 2 feet in diameter, and they're floating about an inch out of the water.
Those are hard to see, aren't they?
They're very hard to see, and when you hit one, it'll take your prop right off if you're not careful.
Well, what if you hit one? Can't they capsize? Can't they hit something and turn over at a certain speed?
If you're in a turn at a certain speed, yes, you're very vulnerable.
And what about skiers?
Skiers can get hurt. Skiers can get hurt.
Legs would break, and
you don't want to fall on them.
Goodness gracious. So what do you do with those? You go out and find those?
We take those to the shore. If they're small enough, I'll put them up on the shore. If they're too large, sometimes I'll have to tie them to the shore. Sometimes I can run them up on a beach and ground them. But I don't like to tow logs twice.
Right.
So once I get one, I'm going to take it somewhere where I won't see it again.
Right, and then for the audience, when you've put it up on the beach, they probably want to know, what beach are you putting this up on? Are they going to see a pile of logs somewhere?
TVA still owns about half to 2/3 of the lakefront property, and we use the TVA places. And a lot of times I can take a log and place it so that it's helping stop the erosion of the bank.
Oh, that's good.
And cut back on the erosion.
That's another thing that Fort Loudoun Lake Association does and has done. It has contracted to stop some of the erosion by planting some trees in the riparian zone.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
We've done several projects in riparian zones for individuals, and we've done them for the city paid us to do 1,000 trees out in a little park in East Knoxville. They were small bare root trees, but they will eventually do two things. They'll protect against erosion, and these trees actually will pick up chemicals and poisonous stuff from the ground and pick them up in their roots and convert them. So this is a very valuable service.
It's kind of a natural filtration system.
Very much, very much.
So when you're putting that back, and then we look at some of the construction that we have around here, especially close to the lake, and they're ripping things out and clear cutting, what is that doing to our water?
Well, that not so much now, because we do have programs, both the city and county and the town of Farragut. All three have programs. So anymore, construction, you've seen the silt fences, I'm sure, and the hay bales and the protection. They'll put the protection down before they start grading, or they'll pay a very heavy fine. So contractors don't mind doing that if they know that every contractor has to do it. It's just part of business.
And this is where the stormwater comes in.
Right.
Stormwater meaning, big rains that gather everything on its way, coming down from and hitting stuff, and then eventually landing in our river.
Right.
How do we prevent that?
Okay, the mitigation on that is, once again, from the city, county, and Farragut engineering departments. They insist that the people, if you put in a parking lot where there was a meadow, you've obviously changed the runoff flow. And the runoff is going to be a lot faster, and it's going to be a lot dirtier. It's not going to be filtered. So they make you put that into a detention or retention pond.
Oh, right.
And they put them it goes into a pond, and the retention pond actually holds the water, and the water infiltrates into the ground. And these are planted with plants, once again, that will absorb some of this stuff and filter it. And then the water, but they insist that the water flow coming out has to be the same as it was prior to development.
Ah, so that's where testing comes in.
Right.
And I know we have someone on our team that tests.
Yeah.
Well, before we run out of time, I want to know, what is, in your mind, the one thing we can do to stop polluting in your area, in your zone, and with what you've told us today?
The only way it gets done is if people get educated and know not to throw their trash in the street. If people stop dropping the trash off and teaching it how to swim, it'll make a great difference. Another thing that would help a lot would be a bottle bill. They've talked about this and talked about this, but it makes a difference. If the bottles are worth a nickel, you see people walking around picking up aluminum cans that are worth 1/10 of a cent.
Oh, I see.
I wouldn't see any bottles if they were worth a nickel.
So if we educated people, and we have programs, I know at Fort Loudoun Lake Association, we're educating the automotive industry, schools, so we're teaching adults to stop litter, and we're teaching the kids to never litter.
Right.
And I think you said something a few minutes ago about the kids are going to teach their parents not to litter, right?
That's right. If you teach the children will take it to their parents. And they'll ask their parents, Dad, why did you do that?
Yeah, and so education is really the place where we can stop things upstream. And Fort Loudoun Lake Association has pollution prevention programs, and we're happy to come to your school or your church or your business and perform these. And you actually get some environmental credits for it by doing some of these programs.
Sure.
So call us. Go to our website at the screen, at the bottom of the screen. You can donate on our website, call us, learn about our volunteer programs, and join our newsletter, because in our newsletter, and I promise only to give you one a month, you find out about volunteer programs and fundraising and things that we're doing on the lake. We have blogs from our zone managers and pictures of things that we're doing. So we're really active out there on the lake. We can certainly use a lot more help. And as any nonprofit, we can certainly use a few more dollars to give these guys more time on the lake, actually, and more activity. So I want to thank all my viewers for joining us today. And remember what we do. I can boil it down to my favorite band, REM. You remember REM? Yeah, Michael
Losing my religion.
Well, I know what your religion is. It's keeping that lake clean. But we do three things. We remove all the trash and debris, we educate our community, and we monitor the stormwater and our creeks, our health of our creeks. Two ways you can help out. You can donate or volunteer. So please go to our website, join the newsletter, give us a call, let us know you're out there and that you appreciate us. We're good for that too. Or donate on our website. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jake.
Enjoyed it.